Juliane Koepcke was just 17 years old, traveling with her mother on a Christmas Eve flight over Peru. The sky was calm at first, but then dark storm clouds gathered. Suddenly, lightning struck the aircraft. The plane shook violently. The plane broke apart in mid-air. Juliane, still strapped to her seat, was thrown out into the sky, falling from 10,000 feet. The roar of the wind surrounded her, the endless Amazon jungle below rushing closer and closer. And then, impact. Everything went black. When she opened her eyes, she was lying on the jungle floor. Injured, one eye swollen shut, deep cuts on her body, her collarbone broken. But against all odds, she was alive, alone, in the world's deadliest rainforest. No food, no shelter, no mother. For days, she stumbled through the jungle, weak and in pain. Mosquitoes bit her skin, leeches clung to her wounds. She drank dirty rainwater. On the 11th day, exhausted and barely conscious, she found a small boat by the river. Soon after, local villagers discovered her and rushed her to safety. Juliane Koepcke had done the impossible. She had survived a plane crash from the sky and endured 11 days alone in the Amazon jungle. The world would forever remember her as the girl who fell from the sky. In 2022, a girl named Candela was waiting for a train when she suddenly felt dizzy and fell right into the gap between two train coaches. People around her started screaming, thinking it was the end for her. But then, a miracle happened. She came back out alive. Bystanders quickly pulled her out and rushed her to the hospital. Doctors found that she couldn't hear and that her ribs and liver had been damaged. It was truly a miracle. And the best part is that she survived. 31-year-old Casey Wagner was waiting for his friend near a bathroom. After a while, the clouds suddenly turned dark. He thought, "I'll go stand under a tree." Suddenly, lightning struck directly from the sky and hit Casey Wagner. At that very moment, another bolt of lightning struck him again. Wagner started shouting for help. His friend quickly called an ambulance and took him to the hospital. For a short time, he was paralyzed, but after just one night, he recovered and was discharged from the hospital. Now, I don't know if this makes him lucky or unlucky, but what's shocking is that he was struck by lightning twice and still survived. Joan Murray was an experienced skydiver who had already completed 35 jumps. One day, she jumped out of a plane and tried to open her parachute at the perfect spot, but it didn't open. She tried several times, but it still wouldn't work. Finally, she deployed her reserve parachute, which did open. But because her speed was so high, she lost control, and the parachute lines got tangled. She hit the ground at a speed of 128 km/h, and the entire right side of her body was shattered. She landed on a fire ant nest, and the ants began to sting her repeatedly. She was rushed to the hospital, and doctors believe that she survived partly because the ant stings stimulated her nervous system, keeping her alive long enough to be treated. One day, Frane Selak was traveling by train when suddenly the train derailed and fell straight into a river. 17 people died in that accident, but Selak managed to swim out and survive. The very next year, in 1963, he was on a plane when the engine failed and the aircraft started going down. Suddenly, the plane's door opened and Selak was thrown out, falling through the sky without a parachute. Miraculously, he landed on a big haystack, the kind animals eat, and survived with only minor injuries, while the other passengers tragically died in the crash. Another time, he was traveling by car when the engine caught fire. But again, Selak escaped unharmed. On yet another occasion, a second car he was driving also caught fire, but he still managed to survive. Thinking public transport might be safer, Selak once boarded a bus. The bus veered off a bridge and crashed into a river. Many passengers were killed or severely injured, but somehow Selak survived yet again. Because of these unbelievable incidents, people started calling him the unluckiest lucky man in the world.